Gonna need to get a replacement core for this thing soon. A lot of arrows in there this summer. Put a few arrows through the longbow, getting my daily practice in. Just got done taking care of Jake's deer, shooting a bunch of photos and extra interviews, and now it's time to get in the field. Well, it's about 4:30 right now. Ted and I are heading out for a relatively short hunt tonight. By the time we get set up, we'll probably have about an hour, hour and a half, something like that. But we're going to a new area of public land that I just started scouting last week and took advantage of the rainy weather to get out. I was looking for deer and then also looking at trails, and I actually cut a big set of tracks coming out of this piece. So then a couple days later, on another rainy day, I quickly scouted it, and I actually did bump a mature buck that day. Big-bodied, tall 8-pointer. A doe and a fawn jumped up, and then he jumped up at about the same time, and when he bounded off, he seemed kind of confused as to what was going on. His tail wasn't up, he didn't blow or anything like that. So I'm confident I didn't do much damage there, but I got a feel for the area. I know there was a mature buck in there, and I found several spots where would be good ambush locations for the longbow. All right, we're geared up and ready to go. Don't have too far of a walk to get back in there, and wind is blowing pretty good right now, but it's supposed to lay down towards sunset, unfortunately. I'd much rather have a breeze, especially since we're hunting off the ground, but I've got a pretty good spot picked out where I think we can get hidden. There's a little cluster of locust trees, cedars, and just some other vegetation that is a good natural ground blind. I'm excited about the hunt tonight. There's a lot of traffic going through that open gate. When I checked the trail the other day, it's littered with tracks. We'll see how it goes. Beautiful evening, cool temperatures, high pressure, northwest winds. Jake got the ball rolling the other day, put one on the ground. Hopefully we can keep it going. Well, that open gate is just about 20 yards away right there. And I picked out that spot on the other side where there's that cluster of locust trees that would work to set up and get hidden in there. But I'm also trying to weigh my options as far as being on this side of the cedar row. I could possibly get hidden in here somewhere, but that's still 20-25 yards. It's farther than I want to shoot. And I would try to get tucked up under the cedars and get closer, but you can't cut limbs, can't cut shooting lanes or anything like that. I mean, it'd be hard to get under the cedars and still have room to shoot. I guess I'd have to really camp the bow. But I think what I'm going to do is just go around to the other side and just set up there. That was my original plan. The only thing I don't like about it is that the sun is going to be shining right in my face. So it's going to make it easier for deer to see us if they come out early, and it's also going to make it harder to shoot straight back into the sun. Well, Ted and I are set up here. As you can see, I've shed the leafy suit. When I practiced drawing back, there was several leaves that were hanging down off of the chest that looked like they would contact my string as I released. So I took that off. I'm going to have to do a little work on it before it's good to go with the longbow. I've got Ted about 15 feet behind me, kind of tucked up against a cedar. And that gives me a little bit more room to draw back here, and hopefully Ted will get over the shoulder footage. As you can see, I've got the sun in my eyes here, so I'm going to need that to go down before I can probably do any good shooting right here. But it's a pretty simple setup. There's an open gate, or a fence gap, about 12 yards away, and there's beaten trails going right through that gap out into this overgrown weedy field. There's a lot of clover out there, and the deer are spending probably a fair amount of time feeding there before they move off to destination fields in the evening. There's milo, corn, soybeans, a lot of food in this area, also a lot of cover. Behind us here, that's kind of a lane that runs north-south out to this field. So the hope is these deer are going to come out into that opening and then work their way through the fence gap. We'll see what happens. Back corner. Can you see him? He might be behind a cedar tree for you. Just need to get some footage of him. He's pretty dang big. Pop that camera off quick. Coming right towards us, Dad. tips of his antlers.
I couldn't see him until he came right up over that. And all I saw was his rack. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he was just about in my opening. Because he was kind of coming at an angle there. So I sat back as much as I could because I knew he was going to have to get a ways into the open before he actually turned broadside. But he locked on to us. I honestly believe that's the deer that I saw when I was scouting in here a few days ago. Dang it, man, that was so close. I guess it's my turn for heartbreak tonight. Man, we came from 200 yards away. Ted couldn't see him from where he was at, and I'm glassing him, looking at him. I got a clear view. So I took the camera from Ted, at least to get a little bit of footage of the deer. I just at least wanted to document it. And then as soon as I got a few seconds of footage of him, he is on a dead march, and he disappears over this little rise. So I got hunkered back down, but he kind of hugged the west edge of it and started angling up towards us. And I could just see his antler tips come into view. I never got to see his full body right here, but Ted says he's got a clear view of him from back there. But when he snapped his head over here, I guess maybe he could have seen my bow limb up just a little bit. I mean, with a mature buck like that, you just can't make any mistakes. That was exciting. Mm-hmm. That was intense. But that was the absolute perfect opportunity to get one with the longbow. Didn't see anything all evening. And then all of a sudden, here comes a big body mature buck right down the pipe. I took up hunting with a longbow because, I love the challenge of bow hunting. And this, creates even more of a challenge. With a compound, I could have drawn back well before he came up here. I think at the last second there, I must have done something to get his attention, and then it was all over from there. Oh, Ted, the lucky cameraman.
Yeah. Not quite lucky enough.
You want to be filmed right now?
No, I do not want to be filmed right now.
Your hair's so pretty. I can't believe you don't want to be filmed right now.
Jack and Gotti last night.
That's what's going on 3 hours of sleep after dragging a deer out. Look, suits you well.
Yes, it does. I do it every night.
We should have been doing it tonight.
I know, what the heck? I'm actually kind of very sad
Yeah.
that we're not doing
I'm
it.
sad too. Chomper's sad too. Look at it. Well, Mindy, Jake, Ted, and I just got done watching the footage here. I'm going to watch it back a few more times to reinforce and get it through my thick skull. You can't be moving around when you've got a mature buck at eye level at 20 yards, especially on a calm evening like that. So it's obvious that I messed up in that capacity, and what may not have been quite as obvious is that Ted and I had a lot different view. Ted was up higher and off to my right, and he could see the deer long before I could, and actually for him the deer was in the wide open. So if you were watching this and yelling at the screen, why aren't you shooting? I don't blame you, because it looks like the deer should be in the wide open. But from my perspective, I was having a hard time actually seeing the deer, and then when I could see that he was farther down the hill and then angling up towards me, I was having to shift to the right a little bit to be able to shoot that way, because by the time he got up there and got broadside, he was going to be farther to the right than what I was anticipating my shot was going to be. And again, where I was hiding there, I had cover in front of me, so I was trying to move behind that cover, but what I didn't take into account was the upper limb of my bow was fully exposed, and then the deer could, see that moving. But overall, it was a fun hunt, great learning experience. The nerves just kind of got the best of me, and it ended up costing me an opportunity at that buck. But I guess if there's an upside to not getting that buck tonight, it's that we don't have to go track and drag another deer out all night long, because right now I don't know if Mindy could handle that. I mean, she is tough as nails, but I can't remember the last time I've seen her this tired. She already went to bed and crashed. So I'm gonna watch this clip back a few more times and then go cry myself to sleep. Don't forget to check in the description below. We have promo codes and discounts that can help save you money. If you're interested in THP apparel, you can go to legendarywhitetails.com. You can find it there. That helps us a lot, keeps the deer tour rolling on, and we're gonna be going to Missouri at the end of October. And then we're gonna be all over the place in November, and then hopefully in Alabama in January. Thank you guys for following along. We appreciate your support, your comments, your feedback, and we will see you on the next video.